He said, I was raking my yard, and he pretty soon he can't talk. He's like, he's choking, and I'm like, talking about Justin. And I said, are you okay? And he said, yeah, I'm fine. And he said, the serenity and this peace came over me that I've never experienced in my life, and the tears started to run down his eyes. And he said, I think I found God, because I've never felt this way in my entire life. And that's because of Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. And so we do a lot of work that you guys do, the same kind of thing. It's all about getting people back to source and connected. And yeah, that's what I have. And we'll take questions about 2218 or... And I do want to promote this. I would like to leave this, and if you want to promote this within your church, we would love to have you over on the 17th. You never know who you're going to find on the streets, who might be in an overdose, and to do some Narcan. I mean, we're welcome to come and get the training if you'd like. And they will supply you with the supplies to have in your church or in your car or whatever.
because I introduced them today. So these are available for purchase at 2218 for only $5, and they say Alano Society of Minneapolis, established in 1942. So you have to pay for yours. I got mine free. $5. It's a good deal. So anyway, if you have a question, I'll give you the mic so it can be heard.
Okay. Two quick questions. I'm 2218, and it's fantastic. It's so nearby. I've never heard of it. I've been around here forever, and I'm so happy to be here and to hear about all the good work you all are doing. This is amazing. Do you, in those amazing numbers of people who come there for friendship and socialization and getting clean, what kind of numbers do you have that young people say they're in their 30s or so? Are they, somewhat younger, number one? And then number two, what about the gender breakdown between male and female?
So I would say the majority of the people that I would, Bobby, you chime in if I'm wrong, but I would say 60% of the people that we see around there are probably between 19 and 40. And then the rest older than that. Remember, we're right in the hub of all these treatment centers around here. And this is one of the things that's different about our Alano versus, say, Fridley or Robbinsdale or whatever, because we have these treatment centers here, we have a constant influx of people that come in and out. You could come there and go to a meeting, and this is particularly true with our Narcotics Anonymous meetings. That's where I started when I started going, and if I go into that meeting 3 years later, I don't know anybody in there. And it's not because the program doesn't work, it's because the people that come in are coming from treatment centers, because we are not a treatment center. There's been some misconception about that. We are an AA-NA house. And so there's two components to getting sober, for me. This is my experience. Treatment, but treatment addresses the physical, the mental, all that. It doesn't address the spiritual. And so I've been to treatment 3 times, and I get out and I think I got it whooped, and I go back out and start all over again. I even did the 12 steps once and thought, ooh, got it whooped. I'm cured. Wasn't thinking. But the ticket has been there. So anyways, there's a constant influx, and I think those numbers on age are based upon the treatment centers that we serve. Why there's a lot of younger people in treatment. Hopefully we get it by the time we're 50. And you asked about the gender. I would say we're probably about 70% men, not as many women. And we have a women's meeting that meets, and we are trying to open that up more. And I'm not quite sure why that is, but yeah. Oh, we also have an Al-Anon meeting as well, which is for the people and families that have to deal with people like me. Yeah.
I have a theory about why there are so few women, and that is it's very hard for us to admit that we have put drinking or drugs ahead of our families. And that socially is all wrong. So that's why it's hard to admit.
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick, I'm an alcoholic. I just want to say, I didn't know these two guys are going to be here today, but they're basically, I go 5 days a week, and they're here and they really offer an incredible program. I just got a 9-year medallion last month.
I'm in AA, and I just want to say that I often say this. If Jesus came back today, the club that he would join would be none of the churches, it would be AA.
Yeah.
Because there's no money taken off the top by the mafia and or da-da-da-da-da. They don't affiliate with anything, they don't connect themselves with systems and the whole shebang. It's just beautifully designed, Thank you.
I agree.
No one in our organization is paid nobody.
I don't think we've heard.
Oil work,
I'm gonna bring you the mic, because I'm not sure if
nobody at our clubhouse gets paid. We do the janitorial work, we do the cooking in the kitchen, meal preparation, we're open for dinner every night of the week. And breakfast on Sunday. Right now they're doing a French toast and eggs for $7, and it's really good, and sausage and orange juice, Giancola. I personally have 41 years on October the 7th of this year. I got sober when I was 30 years old, and so this is the clubhouse I chose to join, and I'm still there.
You know, I would like to just comment on that a little bit, because I can give you numbers, and at the end of the day, it's really about that very thing you're talking about. And my personal story is that I was this gay, arrogant asshole, Christian asshole, who thought that drug addicts belonged in a trench with dirt over them. And I remember 2 nights before I did cocaine the first time, a friend of mine said, "What do you think we should do with all these addicts in Minnesota that are going to treatment over and over and over?" And I said, I am ashamed. I think we should dig trenches, line them up, euthanize them, cover them up with dirt, and save some tax dollars. I said that. 2 nights later, boom, my face was in a pile of cocaine. I don't know how it happened. I have no idea. I used to work for St. Paul Public Schools. My partner and I made $300,000 a year. He made a lot more money than I did. I had a big house in St. Paul. 9 months later after that, I'm taking a suitcase on my way to Pride Institute going, what happened? How did this happen? Now standing where I'm standing and seeing what I've seen and experience what I've experienced, God said, wow, do you need some humility? And do you need to really find me? You think you found me and you haven't found me. And so I have seen more kindness, more compassion amongst the people on the streets out here. Folks, I used to run the streets out here. I used to come to your food shelf. I was homeless. So I'm part of that. But I will tell you, I've seen more compassion out there amongst people hurting each other than I've seen in the church I grew up in. And so there's something about brokenness when you've been broken and you heal, and that's what AA is, people that have been broken and healed, and there's some real love and compassion there. I will tell you, this man sitting here, it has been no higher honor, and I've been so humbled to be able to work with Bobby. And this is a man who knows God. And so I really appreciate what you said about that, because we are a church, and I forget, my ego gets in the way over there all the time, and somebody will call. Oh my gosh, this is a funny story, I gotta tell you this. Somebody called one day, and I hate answering the phone over there. Now, I'm on the board, I should be happy to answer the phone, right? I'm like, Bobby, you get it, because we'll get some weird calls. And this guy said, can you give me directions to get there? And I'm like, oh, jeez. We live in an age where you type it in your phone, right? And I said, do you have a phone? He's like, I do, but it's dead. I said, well, where are you? He says, I'm standing on the street corner of 28th and First Avenue. And I'm like, well, take a left and walk up. And I'm but Mark, our vice president's sitting in the office with me. So now I know I gotta be good. I can't be snarky or. So I was, because I can be a little quick. Anyways, this guy shows up. I didn't meet him, but later on that night, he's walking around kind of stumbling, not too bad. He says, and he went to one meeting, can I stay for another one? I'm like, sure. He came the next morning. He was there the next morning. We're talking, and he says, will you be my sponsor? It was the guy that was on the phone. It is the guy I just told you about who had his experience in connecting with God. So I need to be reminded all the time by these things that this is a house of God over here, what we do. And that I gotta shed that ego constantly. And that's what recovery is all about, is letting the ego down and understanding. Yeah, anyways. Are we out of time?
No, we're not.
Oh,
We have one
okay.
more time.
I have a member of my family and who has gone through treatment many times, and he has been sober for over 2 years now, and so we're
Congratulations.
grateful for that. Through that, we connected with another family whose son is sober for a while and then slips, and he will not go to AA, and it is the God part that he struggles with. He doesn't want to do anything with that. Is there? My loved one said, this person just has to find his way there. But gosh, it's frustrating. It seems like there's help available.
Yeah, I will tell you right now, if you can get him hooked up with him, because Bobby I'm speaking for you, I'm sorry. Bobby understands this better than anybody. No offense, folks. When Bobby hears, may I? The Jesus thing, he cringes because we all know this happens, right? But there's nobody more connected to God than Bobby. And so I think I've heard him have conversations with people, and I get goosebumps when I hear him talking about, you don't need to, I'm not good at that. He's profound with it. So I would say if you can get him to 2218 and have a sit-down coffee and a donut with Bobby, that's going to be the first. But there are lots of people that take that perspective. Bobby's this is what he's lived it, He's found God without having to do it that way. I think that's just the incredible thing about God. The great I am, right? Just look for me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you find me, just find me.
Just want to say my brother's son was a drug addict. And so he said, I won't go to AA because it's only about alcohol. And number two, I am absolutely an atheist. Well, then he went on methadone, and from being probably the brightest child in the family, ended up, shoveling dirt the rest of his life. you know, so it makes it somewhat easier.
You know, I'm going to take my 2218 hat off for a second, all right? I know the cameras are running, whatever. I'm speaking as Darin now, not 2218 representation. You all know, probably you've heard of Marianne Williamson and the Course in Miracles, Course in Miracles. So I've been really getting into her lately, and I'm like, gosh, that sounds like Alcoholics Anonymous. And then I watched one of her videos, and she talks about AA and Al-Anon. She's like, you need to do this. She said, this is just, I'm paraphrasing her, but AA on steroids, right? And there's something mystical about these programs. Okay, I can come back now. I want to make sure I'm not dissing my program here. There's something mystical, and I'm cautious about how I say this because I'm in a Christian church, all right? But I think you guys are pretty open-minded here. There's something mystical about working the program of NA. It says in the book, you don't have to be a believer. You don't have to believe anything. Just do what we tell you to do, and you're going to see results. Now, to me, that sounds a little, I'm going to use the word mystical. You don't need to get on your knees and beg mercy, God, oh, please. None of that. It doesn't say that. It says just do what we tell you to do. There's a book on the agnostics that talks about, or a chapter on the agnostics. You do what we tell you to do and you're going to see results. If you're not a believer in something, when you do it, you probably will be when you get done. And there's some, I'm not real good at this, but there's some esoteric kind of mystical things that happen in doing this. And so I've had a revelation and an eye-opener myself in the last 6-8 months where this God that I perceived growing up Seventh-day Adventist was clouding my vision on so many things. And like through working AA, I'm like, oh, God is so much bigger and greater. I mean, I thought God was great before, but now seeing through this program that's available to anybody, and you don't have to be good, you just got to follow the formula. It's the formula of AA, and you see results. And so that's what I would share is like, you don't even have to believe in God. The book is still, it promises it will work. I'd be happy to give you my phone number afterwards. I'd be happy to do whatever I can. I get real passionate about this stuff. I got goosebumps, and I used to get high, and I don't get as high doing drugs as I do talking about God and connecting people. So,
I just want to share something with them that I too was raised in the church and had all that hard, terrible time. You know, I'm a recovering addict, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I'm a recovering Catholic. It took quite a while to get there, but you know what? I was just like this gentleman that just will not bear to God. It was tough. It was a long, hard struggle, but God, He won me over, and now I'm doing what I can to help those who are in need.
Yeah, good.
Thank you both very much for being here today. Someone I love very much is sober because of 2218. And it feels to me like 2218 is special or different, and I wonder if you could talk about why is it different from other?
So have you all heard of Go for State? It's our big AA convention we have every year down there. We have a booth there, and I'll let Bobby answer this too, but I learn a lot by being there because there's people, we do this French toast thing, and we're popular for French toast at Go for State. And these people start funneling through. And they're like, I started my sobriety at 2218. I'm sorry, Myra. I started my sobriety at 2218, and this is where people start their journey. Give you an example. During COVID, you couldn't go to meetings, and there was a meeting that was happening at 2218 that was online. And so there was a person in Arizona, or Michigan, and I think it was Florida, they were brothers, who attended this meeting. And they came to 2218 to get their one-year medallion for being sober. They had never been there before, the oldest running Alano in the world. So I think that's a big part of it. I'm going to tell you the other part is that the people excluding me, because I don't think I'm that humble, but the people in leadership, Mark and Bobby, are amazing. Like, when we have behavior issues over there, like, there have been times where people were real quick to say you can't come back. They have set the bar so high in terms of that because they believe in meeting people where they are. If you got to tell somebody how to behave and how sober you got to be and all that, you're probably not going to reach them. And because of their level of humility, we don't ban people from 2218 unless you're really, really bad, you know? And so there's this level of acceptance and tolerance. And when we're in that place of desperation and broken, all we want is to be validated and seen at that moment. And when you come into the doors of 2218, Mark is really good about this. He makes sure that somebody's sitting at the front desk that's smiling, that says welcome. I'm reminded all the time, and that's why I step back from this, I'm reminded all the time by my sponsees that I look mad. My mother was born with a skull on her face, and I inherited it. And so I got to be intentional about smiling. But there's something about the demographics. I mean, we're all broken people. And there's just, yeah, I have a lot of work to do on my character in that area, because I'm still sometimes that arrogant person. I think, not as bad as I was, but. Does that answer your question? Bobby, do you have anything to add to that? We just, you know, you all should stop by on Thanksgiving. It is the most touching thing in the world. The place is full. People that don't have families. I don't have a family anymore. My mom and dad died. My brother died of alcoholism. I'm the oldest of 3 boys. I have a little brother who is also a recovering addict, and my nephew. And so, and I don't talk to him very often. This is my family now. And like, you come in there on Thanksgiving, there is an energy that goes on there that's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I invite any of you to come and visit us anytime. We open at 5:30. Come in and look for Bobby or I. We'll give you a tour. But you experience it yourself. I hope that she laughed. I hope that answered her question.
She's a minister.
She's a minister. Oh, geez, I'm glad I found that out later.
She has to go preach pretty soon.
Oh, wow. Little did I know.
So anyway, I'm sorry we're almost done already. That went really fast. Anyway, so I just want to mention, you also have a big auditorium, which totally surprised me. It holds about 400 people. I went to a program there, and then I ate there too. The food is good.
Were you at the comedy show?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
hilarious. It was a little raw, but
Well, nobody said we cleaned up our
no,
vocabulary.
it was funny. But I was surprised. It's underground. It's like big. I had no idea.
So the auditorium is actually the old maids' quarters. Bobby's better at this because he knows history more than I do, and I'm not a history buff, but the part of the building is the old maids' quarters to the mansion, and then Pat Cronin had that second part built in to connect it all. Yeah, you can see where the horses used to come in.
Yeah, I was amazed. I had no idea it was even existed. But anyway, this was great, and I forgot to ask you before. We have something to say. Okay.
The building was built in 1887.
And it was one of the Washburn people, but apparently it's not on the Register of Historic Places because one family, the Washburn family, could only have one of their homes on the register.
It is now.
It is? Oh, good for them. Good for them. Anyway, so I'm supposed to introduce next week's, which I will do. Also, I forgot to ask you guys before. Sometimes people want to talk afterwards. Do you mind staying a bit? I know you're going to do a motorcycle ride, but if you have, they can stay a little bit if you have more questions. Okay, so next week, Sunday, we're going to have gallery artist Devin Larkin. Do you know anything more about this? You don't know? Do you know anything about it?
He has a part of the exhibition.
I'll let you do the mic because I forgot to.
Devin has a part. There's 2 or 3 people being represented. He's one of them, and he is talking spiritually about several how he has grown spiritually due to two very serious traffic accidents, and he was very seriously injured. And this is kind of, his art has come out of this, and it's quite amazing.
Okay, good. So come back next week, and thank you guys, thank you so much.